Welcome to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network with your hostess, Jen Josie. Join like-minded real estate investors and accelerate your business towards greatness. You will hear step-by-step strategies for success, interviews with real estate rock stars, and we will dig deep into past projects where we bear it all, including the good, the bad, and some just plain ugly. So get excited. Here's the bestower of badassery herself, the real Jen Josie. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, and welcome back. I'm Jen Josie, creator of RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Whoop, whoop. On today's episode, we have a guest that will be sharing their badassery. But before we begin, here's today's badassery bestowment, my little badass gift to you. Today's topic is chunking down your goals. That's right, I said chunk. Many people start their year by writing some lofty goals, only for them to get tossed in the back of their thoughts by the middle of February. An easy way to keep them in the forefront is to chunk down those goals into smaller goals. An example might be that you want to flip, say, 12 properties this year. To chunk it down, that would obviously be one a month. But to make it more achievable, determine what steps need to be done to flip a property a month. How many houses do you need to see? How many offers do you need to make? If you need to see 20 houses to write 4 offers to get 1 house under contract, chunk that down to 5 appointments and 1 offer a week. To get 5 appointments a week, how much marketing do you need to do? Chunk that down to either 100 cold calls or maybe 50 postcards a day. If that doesn't work, reach out to your favorite wholesalers each week to make those 5 appointments. With smaller, bite-sized goals, you can accomplish that much larger goal with ease. We are halfway through the year, so dust off those annual goals and recharge with some chunking. Now, on to today's episode of the Real Estate Investor Growth Network podcast. We have with us one of my favorite humans. When I first joined my real estate mastery program, this guy was brought on stage in front of close to 1,000 people to share his success story. I found out that he was local to Raleigh, and I made it my mission to stalk him and integrate myself into his life. I met him face to face at a local event a few weeks later, and I would not let him leave without Vance and I buying him lunch. He finally agreed once I said whiskey would be involved, and he's been my brother from another mother ever since. It is my honor to introduce my very first coach, coordinator of amazing masterminds, real estate whisperer to my husband, grammar wizard, Wegmans supporter, and father to my favorite teenager, Kylie. Welcome to the show, Terry Thayer.
Thanks for
How about that
me.
intro?
Thanks for having me. That was probably the best intro I think I've ever had in my entire life. That was awesome.
Wegmans.
I was like, she put Wegmans in there? The Publix girl?
I thought I'd give a shout out for your favorite.
I love it. Thank you.
Terry, thanks for being here. This is my episode number 50, so it's a big milestone for me. So it is just great to have one of my closest friends here. So thank you. So give the audience a little background on you.
Well, first off, congratulations on 50 episodes. That's
Thank you.
Awesome. I'm sure that you're getting some good traction. So little background on me. I'm still looking for my first deal. So thanks for teaching me what you just taught me about chunking down goals. No, just kidding.
That's a Rye Guy thing, by the way.
Is it? He's the man. I love him.
Yeah.
So a little bit about me is I've been in business now for myself for 24 years. I've been in the real estate industry for 19. So for the first 5 years I was in business, I was more like carpenter, contractor roles. And the past 19 years have been a pretty cool road, going through and just figuring out all this stuff. And, the first probably 10 years, I started in 2002. I didn't learn about mentorship until 2012. First 10 years, I'm figuring everything out. I was so much of a technician. And over this last 9 years, it's been a gradual, just constantly climbing, getting better, and now helping people not make the mistakes that I made for all of those other years by not understanding about, what mentorship is, or the power of mentorship, and how people can really help you save a lot of time and money during a good mentorship.
So I reap the benefit of that because you have just really influenced both Vance and I, probably Vance more so in ways that you don't even know, but you just have this skill to do it. And I think I'm truly grateful for that. So I do appreciate that very much. I remember when we first were, getting to know each other, and you kept talking about this tab retreat, and we're going to get into it a little bit more, but one of the biggest things I learned from you is, people instead of looking at the cost of what it, like say a program, a mastery program, a coaching program, a mastermind, people will hem and haw over the fact that it costs $5,000. What they don't see is they're going to be stuck in the same damn place a year from now. Okay. So that $5,000 investment, that $10,000 investment, whatever it is only going to propel you into the future. And that $5,000 is going to be pennies later on in life because of all the value that it brought to you. So I remember you talking to me about going to this tab retreat, and I'm like, am I really going to learn stuff about my business? And I actually went to your Jamaica tab retreat. It was like, am I getting enough content here? Like, I was really focused on content at the time because I'm like, this has to mean a lot for my $5,000 that we paid for this. Or when I left there, it was so life-changing. And I just have to express my gratitude to you because of the relationships I created at that event. And I didn't even see it when I was there. But years later now, I have the same really great friends that I met on that trip. I've been to other masterminds with them. It was such a huge benefit to our business. So I'm truly grateful for that. And that was all your creation. So explain how Tab Retreat came about.
Well, first off, that's awesome to hear, because that's exactly what the mission is. It's not about, yes, there's content, right? There's content. Every year we're trying to level up the game more and more and more. This year is just going to be like the biggest, baddest speaker lineup in real estate investment history. I might be able to leak a couple of the names that have already committed, but it's all about really the relationships, the connections, the things that can be made. It's not instant gratification, right? It's those relationships that you get to build by being in an all-inclusive resort at a beautiful place with like-minded individuals for an entire week. Right. So yeah, it's something that can build off and over time and just get better. So what is Tab Retreat? Tab stands for the absolute best. Funny story of how that all became the absolute best. Like the first time I did this, it was like, I remember when I thought of this idea, sitting at a resort. I remember leaning up against the pool. My wife is Christy sitting up at the cabana, and we're having this conversation. I'm like, babe, wouldn't it be pretty cool if we can have a bunch of real estate investors for an entire week down to a resort like this? Like, what would that look like? That'd be pretty cool. So I come back, I keep thinking about it. A few months later, post something on Facebook, get hundreds of responses. Yeah, let's do it. That would be awesome. Let's, when is it? When do you want to do it? And it took a few months later before I started putting things together, put a couple other posts out there. Hey, this is what it is. This is what the dates are, and reformed it, right? It wasn't a business. It wasn't a money maker, or wasn't anything like that. There wasn't speakers even. It was just like, let's get together, let's mastermind. And I put a Facebook group together just before it. And I remember get down there, I had a couple other friends that they wanted to pitch in and help me out at the time. And as we're a couple days before we're getting down there, there's all these people reaching out and they're saying, oh man, I wish I could have made this one. When's the next one? I definitely want to make the next one. And then a couple of days into the event, the people that are there, this is awesome. I can't wait for the next one. And I'm thinking, I'm laughing about some like next one. Like this was just an idea to do something and put something together. Like this wasn't a planned yearly event or anything. And so I sat in a room with a few people. We're drinking tequila and we, acting silly, and came up with the name The Absolute Best and said, let's chunk it down to Tab. So Tab Retreat. the absolute best retreat. Real estate investment retreat is what it became. And then as it evolved into a specific schedule. And it's basically a 7-day, Saturday to Saturday event. We get there, welcoming party, 4 days, 4 of the hours we're in the event space with speakers, content, production, and the rest of the time, like there's times now, you didn't see this. I don't think you came to the very last one that we did just before COVID. I made a change during that one. So after those 4 days of event space time, content production and all that, up to 10 people can schedule to eat lunch with one of the speakers. So there's, all the different speakers are available and up to 10 people can sign up. And hands down, by far, the best feedback I got was making that change. That was like the highlight of the week, to be able to sit for an hour and a half with no more than 10 people with one of the speakers and just pick their brains and really get to know a lot about different things with their business and how they've evolved. We have the Catamaran Day, if you remember, where everybody
I kind of remember that day.
I know, right? Big old party fun day, the free day, and then we do a farewell party and move on and head back home. So
you're talking about speakers. All right, I want to hear who's going to Cancun this year.
All right, so I'll leak out a couple of them.
Yes.
So we've got, how many should I give you? 5? I'll give you 5. There's 12 speakers.
Okay.
There's 12 main speakers, and then there's also vendor speakers, a couple vendor speakers that will be in there. But some of the names that I'll leak out: Carlos Reyes.
Oh my goodness.
Ryan Pineda. Max Maxwell. Kong.
What?
Do you know Kong? Do you know Kong?
Like King Kong?
Actually, King Kong. That's what he calls himself. Do you know him from TikTok?
I don't. Sorry, I'm old. I don't do TikTok.
You've got to get on. It's the best place to entertain yourself.
I don't need another rabbit hole, but keep going. One more.
Spelled Khang. Follow my Instagram as well. And then I'll jump over into the commercial space. It's going to be Tim Bratz.
Ah.
So those 5, I've got some other big ones that are on my list as well that I'm not gonna talk yet. We'll leak those out later. And I'm working on something really, really, really big. We'll see. We're working on it.
Awesome. I can't wait. So tell the listeners, when is this event?
This event is this September 11th through 18th.
And it's in Cancun
In Cancun, it's going to be, I'm just going to say the Moon Palace, because I'm not sure if I'm going to do it at the Grand or Nizuc, which there's 3 resorts. They're all connected. So there'd be one of the 2 beside each other. Trying to make it the Grand, but there's some logistics we're working out. We thought we were going to be there. Then it got shifted over to Nizuc, and now it's kind of getting shifted back over to the Grand. So there's a bunch of details that are causing that whole ping pong action for me.
Gotcha. And how do people get to become a part of this?
Yeah, so tabretreat.com is where all the information, and that's where they can go and sign up to be on to get to the event. We're shooting for a minimum of 500 people at this event, and a few of those 5 speakers that I just mentioned said 500. We're going to get a whole lot more than that.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
So now it's almost like a challenge. They're like, game on, let's do this.
I love it. Well, I can't wait. And I take back all those times I doubted you when I was like, oh, I just need content. How can I justify spending $5,000 for my business? And I keep saying $5,000. How much is it going to cost this year? Do you know?
So it's, it's funny. You would think with the amount of time that these resorts lost with people with COVID, that they would be just trying to get people there at a discount. First off, I was just there last week. It was a madhouse, like full. It was actually one of the busiest weeks I've ever been there in my life, for one. They actually raised the freaking prices on me, which pisses me off, and is one of the reasons why I've been arguing with them and trying to get this nailed down and why it's not solidified. So the way we've had to structure it this year, it's $5,500 for one person, $6,500 for 2 people in a room.
And, it's worth every penny. I can't stress that enough. It's the relationships you make will only just accelerate your business, just because you will find people in every little nook and cranny in this real estate industry. So it's awesome. All right. I want to go back to that time that I heard you on stage, the very first time where I was like, I must stalk this man. I will be his best friend. He just doesn't know it yet. And so you were talking about where you used to be a total control freak in your business, and you were involved in everything from the carpentry, doing all the work and, side by side with your guys. And then how you switched it over to being a business owner with all this freedom. So tell us a little bit about that. How did you make that transition?
Honestly, it was that one time I had an aha moment by something somebody said that just like it triggered and it finally made sense. And it wasn't that it gave me the blueprint on how to do it. It was like, it can be done. And I just had to just like rip the Band-Aid off, take action, make it happen at a mastermind, someone speaking, talking about this story about how they're basically going to be absent from their business for an entire month. And everything was going to be growing, talking about all the things that were going to happen during that month. And they were going to have no signal because they're going to be up in the mountains in Northern California, and this whole backpack and bicycle trip. And I'm just blown away because I'm freaking out because I'm at this mastermind. I got here on Thursday night. I'm there Friday, Saturday, and I'm leaving on Sunday. And I'm thinking my entire business is burning to the ground back home. Like, I'm stressed out of my mind for being there. And I'm like, and I hadn't taken a vacation or time off in years and years and years. So I'm hearing this. I'm like, so I could not stop thinking about it. And I just had this wild, crazy idea that, you know what, I'm going to figure out how to get myself to where I actually run a business and I own a business versus my business owning me, because I felt like I was shackled and I could not do anything without consenting with my business. Like my life ran around my business, and that's not how it's supposed to be. Yeah, sure, we made decent money, but that's not how things are supposed to be. And so I came back and I literally fired 16 carpenters, met them at the back door of the office that I'm currently sitting in right now, which I'm days away from being out of here and into my new place. We've been here 7 years.
I did not know that. Where are you moving to?
Yeah, over on Falls on the News.
Oh my God. I'm feet from you right now. You're moving away from me, your office.
I know. We're tripling the size. We're packed in here like sardines.
Yes.
So
okay, so you met the carpenters. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah, I met the carpenters at the back door, and I just, it was like, I didn't know what my plan was. I just knew that I needed to figure out a new path of how I was going to do things, and I was going to stop controlling people as far as employees and start outsourcing things to teams and management and all that stuff. So I laid off 15 of the 16 people. I kept one person as more like a project manager. And him and I literally, we threw our tool belts on, and I was working around the clock. I went from working a lot to working 100% of the time. I slept like maybe an hour a week. It felt like once a week I'd take a quick little nap. No, but it felt like that. But it took about 6 to 9 months to reorganize how I was going to start building my business, create SOPs, to be able to put the systems in place, to start hiring out the right management, to start hiring out the right contractors like electricians and carpenters and all this stuff versus my crews doing everything. And it's like, you have such little control, because when you're paying somebody by the hour, it's like there's so many unpredictable things that happen. But if I'm paying a contractor and I get a PO from a contractor that says, okay, you're going to do this scope of work for $2,000, then guess what I'm paying them? $2,000. If his guys took, 40 hours longer, man hours longer to do the job, that's on him, not me. And that's how I can start running a business a little more efficiently and more predictable.
I love it. And, part of that story, you said that this guy went away for 30 days and was, offline and up in the mountains and everything. And tell the audience where you spent 5 months this year.
Oh, no, last year.
Last year.
Yeah. We don't even have, we're at 5 months now in this year. So last year, COVID hits, and I'm like, we were planning to do about 3 or 4 months in Europe last year. And of course, everything shuts down with COVID. And I'm like, what can we do? Where can we go that we can enjoy ourselves and not feel like we're like trapped in a house? So we got up, left, literally wife, kids, dog, everything, and we moved to Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, and lived in this, big, beautiful house that overhung the Pacific Ocean, which you went there and visited us. It was amazing views, amazing opportunity. But for 5 months, lived there in Cabo.
And it's because you established all these systems in your business so that you don't have to be there running it and be that control freak all the time.
Exactly.
That is awesome. So I asked for a couple bullet points, but there's one on here I have to know. What the hell are you talking about? You said you can tell the audience why real estate isn't much different than being a drug dealer. So,
it's the truth. Like real estate investing is like drug dealing, right? It's so transactional, only it's legal. Like, but what are drug dealers doing? They're going up, picking up drugs, they're selling the drugs, they got the money, they go buy more drugs. They're like, what are we doing as real estate investors? We're buying a house, we're flipping a house, we're selling a house, we're marketing, buying more houses, flipping those. It's just like constant hustle, right? So I like to show people how to take the hustle and turn it into a business, because I ran it like a hustle for many, many years, and it was painful. I lost out on relationships with kids, family, just time that I'll never get back. When you start realizing the value of time, and that's one thing you never get more of, and you really value that, that's when, your mind starts expanding. Like, how can we get back more time? How can we duplicate? How can we live more? How can we enjoy more experiences and things with people?
I love that. And I think something that you have done with your time lately, and I'm actually have a little bit of help in this, is you just wrote a book. Mr. Terry Thayer, who dropped out of high school but you went back and graduated, yeah. But still, you kicked ass, and I'm reading this book right now. I'm helping with your grammatical errors because, I'm like the grammar Nazi.
Well, what did I tell you before we got on here? English is my second language, but it's my only language too. So I need help.
So tell them about your book. What's it called?
Yeah, so my book's called Play to Win, and I'm sure by the time this episode drops, it'll be on Amazon. We're going through the final edits, the final little critiquing and little things, and hopefully in the next couple of weeks, it will be on Amazon for anybody to get.
And it's about how you run your business and the ins and outs, and how you've automated everything. So on that, do you have a badassery bestowment to share with my audience?
Yeah, I would say like one of my superpowers is something that really has become, because I was so obsessed with it, that comes natural to me, and I'm just so obsessed with it, is taking any business, starting any business or anybody's business, and systematizing it and turning it into like the super efficient business that the business owner can run a business versus being involved in the middle of the business at all times. Like we just started we just started an e-commerce automation business last year. And it's like everything is just flowing and clicking. I can remember when I first started my first business, it was like this thing owned me for years. Like months into it, we've got the whole thing pretty much automated.
I love that. I love it. So thank you for sharing all that. And I like to spend the second half of the podcast finding out what truly makes you a badass. So I use the acronym BADASS. The first B in badass is book. What is a book that has made a huge difference in your life?
A couple books come to mind when you say that. Every time somebody says to me, like, what's your favorite book? It was always a book I'm reading currently, right? Almost always. Every once in a while, you actually get a bad book, right? So a couple of the books that stand out is the one by Aubrey Marcus. This is a personal book that had a lot of impact on me, was Own Your Day, Own Your Life. It's something that, I love that book. I read it twice. It's a big book, takes a long time to read. Actually, I did audio once and listened to it once. But that was a big one. The Great Game of Business was huge for me. It was what I got out of that book. It was a big eye openers on like exposing your entire business to all departments. And what I mean by it's like there's private things that you're not going to expose, but the more you show your every single part of the business to the entire team, everybody knows how each wheel turns. how each lever pulls, how each button pushes. And so they know how everything how they flow into each piece, or how they affect the moving pieces in front of them. They understand, like everyone thinks, oh yeah, you're loaded. They're seeing, 20, 40, 50, 60, $100,000 checks coming in, but they're not seeing what goes out to create that.
Right.
So exposing all that really to a team and being able to have like different things that are just in front of your face all the time, it helps grow your business.
I love that. All right. The first A in badass is advice. What is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Okay, so a hero of mine, somebody that I've always looked up to and really helped me through times like roughly, I don't know, 7-8 years ago. I don't know how long ago it was, when I was making this transition in my business and really needed to push hard and needed that motivation, was Eric Thomas.
Oh, tell me he's going to Tab. I want him to be one of the people. Do it. Eric Thomas.
I want him to be one of the people too.
I love Eric Thomas. Okay, keep going.
He's the man. And the whole video, when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, you'll succeed. I actually have a canvas up here in my office that says that, and everybody sees it every single day. But that video right there has pushed me through. I watch that video every single day for probably somewhere between 2 and 3 years. And I still occasionally, probably once a month, I'll listen to it. And it never gets old, and it constantly elevates me.
I love it. So well said. All right. The D in badass is drive. What drives you to be successful?
Freedom. And then really just to do what I've done, create what I've created, to set an example for my children. Because, when parents have success, a lot of times the kids, they lose out and they kind of ride the coattails.
Yep.
And they don't get that opportunity. And it's been something for me that I never want that to happen. I want to teach my kids how to fish. I don't want to give them fish. So showing that example, and really, like, I got Kylie, you mentioned Kylie a little while ago.
I love my Kylie.
We got her first mentor a couple months ago.
Really?
Yeah, she's going through a mentorship right now, learning how to start her own e-com business right now. So she's got her own Amazon store up and running. And I want to teach them that this is important. I tell my kids all the time, like, you can't leave my house unless you've mastered sales and marketing. You know that you're good for life.
Yep. Well, Kylie is my favorite teenager on this planet. So you've done a great job with her. Actually, it's probably Christy. We'll just go ahead and chalk that up to Christy.
Oh, of course.
Your wife raising her properly. So
I tell people are like, how are your kids so good? I'm like, I beat them. Why? I lock them up in closets, tie them up.
I love that kid. All right.
Some people look at me funny when I say that. I don't know why.
The second A in badass is aspiration. What is a goal you are currently working on?
So goal I'm currently working on is something new. This is part of my e-com business. It's e-com automation. Is I want to get 250 people in that business earning $1 million per year passively. And I say passively, I quote unquote passively, because they have to pay bills or pay off their credit card, stuff like that. It's not just hands off, but passively through e-com automation over the next 3 years.
Love it. That's great. All right. The first S in badass is systems. And I want you to spend a little more time on this one, because I know you have some kick-ass systems that you've put into place. So what has helped you most to achieve success?
So first and foremost, it's documentation, videos. Then once you have like, those are like the processes. Once you have the processes documented and, the systems of the process of the systems, then you can put people in place. Right? People to follow those systems. And then there's all kinds of other things too, with culture and all that. But I mean, people, calendars, and 3 months written out. I write things out 3 months. I heard you talking about the chunking down, and I was trying to show you something on this video, the 12-week year. Have you ever read that book?
I haven't.
Okay. So it's funny is somebody was like hammering this book onto me through social media. And I finally pick up the book and read it. And it's like what I have been teaching and saying for years and years and years. It's like, I'm so sick of these yearly goals. Like yearly goals are made to fail, right? So it's like putting out a year's worth of goals. It's very difficult. But when you can put in a quarter, and then you can break that down to months, 3 months, a month at a time, and then you can break that down to weeks. Like you're gonna accomplish your goals. So instead of having 12 months worth of goals, let's make it into 12 weeks, which is per quarter. So this breaks it down in a cool way, the way it was written. So writing that down, and really KPIs and tracking. Like if you don't have
what are KPIs?
Key performance indicators.
Okay.
So your metrics, tracking every single thing is what allows you to know how your business truly runs.
So give just a couple examples.
All right. So marketing, for example. So marketing, you can have, okay, we had a direct mail campaign drop. Not yesterday, last week. And Keith and I were looking at some of the metrics this morning. We're like, okay, well, just yesterday we had 40 people call in on that. And then we were talking about, we spent X, we have this much response rate. Out of that response, we have this much that is actually hot, and this much that's actually converted into a deal. So then over time, like it's too early to tell right now, but over time, over the next month, 2 months, we could say, okay, this campaign cost us X. We made this much out of it. So it ended up costing this much per deal. So then as you run this a couple of times and you get solid metrics, and then you get year over year, because you can find out like maybe January, February, March isn't a good time to do direct mail, but April, May, June, July, I'm just making an example of, right. Those are good times. You get better numbers during that. If you're tracking it, you can start seeing, and honestly, I said that as an example, we've truly found that second and third quarter are good times to put out direct mail. We get a better response because we have years of documentation, years of KPIs and metrics that show this. So we don't really spend a lot of time in first and fourth quarter on direct mail, but we will on second and third. So we really go all in and put a ton of money into it.
So stupid question. How do you track these KPIs? Like literally like spreadsheets? What do you?
I think it starts off with a good CRM.
Okay. Which is CRM?
CRM is a customer relation management software or system, whatever you want to call it. And having a good CRM, we use a Signforce, signforce.com. It's a Podio based right now, going to be a SaaS product here soon off of Podio. But that's where everything starts, because you got to have it. You don't want it to be so freaking I've seen people make it so manual that like literally you need to hire someone just to run KPIs. Right. But if you have it tracked and you can just transfer the data to different spreadsheets, you can look at it 17 different ways. And then when you can see things that way, that's how I run my business, by the way. Like I have no part in the day-to-day whatsoever anymore. Like people will ask me questions like, I have no idea. Go ask this person. Like, I don't, what's closing? Or, they're like, oh, we bought this house. I'm like, oh, cool. Like, great. I didn't know that we sold this house to you. I don't deal with that, right? What I deal with is looking at the metrics. I'm like, okay, if I see this, okay, why don't we tweak this a little bit more to get this much out of that? If that makes sense.
Yes. I love it. See, I always learn from Terry Thayer, so thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. All right, the final S in badass is success. What does success mean to you?
Living on my own terms, doing what I want, when I want, with whoever I want is my definition of success. It's not about dollars or anything, because what is that? It's like, I just want to be able to not have anything control me.
I love it. So how do the audience members find you?
Social media and website is Terry Thayer II. So terrythayerii.com. Instagram is Terry Thayer II. The reason why II is on the second. So II.
Aye, mate.
I was actually recently on Bradley's podcast, and they're like, what are you, in the Navy or something? He goes, aye, Captain. He thought he was funny. So yeah, Terry Thayer II, that's just where everything is stuck.
And how do they attend TAB?
TABretreat.com.
I love it. I can't wait for it. And you think there's going to be how many people this year?
At least 500. That's what I'm shooting for. And also there's a Facebook group. It's called Tab Tribe. there's almost 3,000 people in that group. And a lot of those people have been to TAB or are coming to TAB. So yeah, there's a lot of things going on in there as well.
Well, I want one of those dinners with Max Maxwell. Just put me down.
Okay.
Just take note. Yes.
He's the man.
He is the man. Well, you are the man, Terrence. I appreciate you so very much. You are a very important friend to me. And so thank you. And thank you for taking the time to be on this podcast. You are awesome. Give Kylie a big hug for me. And I'll come steal Christy for some drinks later. But that is all. Thanks for listening, and we will catch you on the next episode. Now go out there and share your badassery. And don't forget, make it a great day. Take care. Bye-bye. Whoop, whoop.
Thank you for listening to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. If you need more badassery, you can follow Jen Josie by visiting therealjenjosie.com or become a member of RAIN by registering on rainmastermind.com.